Hey there, so today we have another review. This is a beer courtesy of Jeff. This is from Fox Farm. This is Pora. So this one I've definitely never had. Cheese, done fresh. Right under a month. Riwaka IPA. Riwaka, New Zealand hop. I remember last time I had a beer with Riwaka. Riwaka is actually quite important. It's specifically to a Hill Farmstead beer, specifically Susan. Susan is a Riwaka hop beer. Well, not exclusively, but it does have Riwaka in it. I got a little too cold. Yeah, I got these room temperature, obviously, because I picked them up today and threw one of them in the freezer, or a couple in the freezer. This one stayed a little bit too long, but let it warm up in the counter for a bit. But still a little hair cold. We should be okay. What is this guy? 6.6. It's not a huge guy. All right, it's warmed up a little bit. All right, there we go. Beer comes in a light to medium gold color, definitely darker than the last quote-unquote unfiltered IPA that I had from Fox Farm. This one just says, they called unfiltered IPA on the last one. This one just says Riwaka, right? The Southern Hemisphere hops also have, from what I understand, a little bit more polyphenol content. Therefore, they're a little bit more hazy. So this is, I mean, I can still see the shadow through of my finger through light, but it's just noticeably a little bit darker, slightly darker in color, but also, which is not really the hops, but possibly. But the haze is a little bit more robust, just a little bit more hazier. So quite nice. I mean, it smells like hazy. Relying on those, yellow orange fruits. Mangoes, oranges. Honestly, I would have guessed this full blind. I would have guessed citra or something. A little bit of like cantaloupe. Smells great. Cheers. A little bit of like light, kind of like smooth malt character. So it has a little bit of that like maybe adjuncted. So like oat wheat maybe. A little bit of bready sweetness. Cheers. I still have the hair cold, but maybe better have a little bit of hair cold. I notice a little bit of the polyphenol content. Yeah, like, smelled pretty okay. Nothing too bombastic on the palate. Trying to like just juice it up a little bit more on the warmth. Definitely noticeable kind of that thing. So definitely some polyphenol on the back end. A little bit of that kind of like grassy, dry thing. And then also now I'm noticing the chalkiness. So that's surprising. The last beer had not really much issue with that, but now I'm tasting some of that kind of like chalky drying thing. Quite noticeable. So could be the water treatment and or the amount of polyphenol in the hops. So all right, try it again. Now I smell a little bit more. It gets a little bit more stinky, a little bit more ripe on the palate, on the nose, of ripe fruit. I like how I say stinky in like a weird way, but yeah, see, it was a little bit cold. Now it's warmed up a little bit. I'm getting a little bit more expressive hop character. I'm getting a little bit more what I'm smelling, which honestly just comes off a little bit more like citra to me. It's just big, ripe, juicy orange character. A little bit of mango, a little bit of cantaloupe, a little bit of yellow peach. A little bit of floral character in the middle. Nice medium plus mouthfeel. Yeah, see, that was the issue. As it warms up, I get a little bit more residual. I notice a little bit more residual sweetness. Definitely, compared to last beer, the unfiltered IPA, it tastes a little bit more, or not a little bit, a lot more chewy. More of that kind of like, I imagine this one maybe has a little bit more oat wheat thing going on. Just more familiar hazy IPA characteristics. That like thick, chewy, rich breadiness, right? And a little bit of residual sweetness. Definitely way more cohesive as a beer. Just giving it just like a few degrees, 5 degrees right there, bang. That's way better. Sorry about that. So sorry for you guys like to like the first impression being like, it's a chalk bomb, blah blah blah, it's gross. I still do taste it, but I think I'm at a good temperature now. As it warms up, it might like hit really hard, a little bit harder. So I like where it's at right now, which is probably 40. I'm going to get somewhere around there. Yeah. But yeah, nice beer. 6.6. Wow. Beer drinks big. I would have guessed this guy was like 7 at least. Almost 7.5. 7.2. Well, that's not that much bigger. I'm guessing this beer was 0.5% ABV higher. Big deal. But yeah, nice. I don't get a huge ton of that kind of like familiar Southern Hemisphere character. But then again, not all the hops have to be Nelson heavy, right? Like they're not all thiol bombs. Tasty beer. A little bit of chalkiness on the back end. But this is just a really good hazy IPA. Definitely tastes like boutique hazy IPA. I know I mentioned that sometimes. If that makes sense, like boutique hazy IPA is like, I can't get this on the show. Oh, maybe you can. But I compare it to like, was this produced by a brewery that makes X amount of beer? Like, you know, like I'm talking about the world of even like these are ginormous breweries now, but like Other Half, Treehouse, Trillium, Monkish, blah blah blah. Like this is not the kind of beer you're gonna find from New Belgium, Founders, Dogfish Head, Sierra Nevada, even, right? Who has their hazy series. I hope that makes some sense, right? Yeah, really nice. Touch of floral in there. Nice, rich tropical flavors. Nice ripe citrus in there. Creamy mouthfeel. A little bit chalkiness on the back end. Nice chewiness to the beer. I think this is just as good as the last beer. Honestly, I think I like it a little bit more. 98 minus. This is the kind of hazy that, like, you know, still impresses me these days. Just absolutely fantastic. Real good. Until next time, cheers.